WIP Chat. I'm excited to be here today. We're going to be talking about a bunch of different stuff, just kind of a random life update. Today, I am working on Books Nooks by Yuumei Art. And if you are new to the channel, hello, it's so nice to meet you. And if you're returning, I'm so glad you're here again. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Whew, okay, so it's going to be a little all over the place. First things first, I am going to try hot gluing in some tips into pens. This is something that I heard a friend do, Elisa over at Yuumei Arts and Crafts. She swears by this. She says that if you melt the end of the glue tip, get the placer with the glue, shove that bad boy in there, and then in theory this will stay. We're going to give it a go. So the reason we're doing all of this is I'm working on Books and Nooks. I've got two in just like a little section of rows left on this. I had started from the top, but I wanted to get the bottom row completed. I'm a little nervous about the amount of drills left of two different colors. And also I wanted to have really interesting bits for the last few sections. I didn't want to just work on browns. And so that's why I'm completing the bottom row and then moving up. But because there's so much color blocking on this kit, I do actually use my 15 placer. This is just a plastic placer. It came from, gosh, I don't know, some kit off of Amazon that they send you, you know, a quadrillion heads. And I actually do like using this for color blocking squares. I fill it with just the basic pink wax, and I find it actually works pretty well for that. And so I've been using it a lot on this canvas, and I'm going to try it in my new little mini pen. This is my first mini. I got this from Jim's Handmade Turning on Etsy, and I haven't used it before, but I love the neon, and I thought, you know what, with the extra control on the 15 placer, this might work out. So Elise says that if you just hot glue these suckers in, that they also pop out pretty easily. There's plastic on the canvas still, so nobody get too nervous. I'm definitely a little nervous. So she says if you just heat it with some gentle open flame. Cool. And then kind of swirl it around to get the glue. And then stick it in and let it cool, that it will hold, and that it will hold more firmly than washi tape, which that's a little concern of mine with the bigger placers, is that with the washi tape it rocks and you need like a solid placement. So I'm going to give it a couple seconds and we'll see what happens. And if that works, I'm going to update some of the others. I do actually have a glue gun pen, but I wanted the extra control. So that's why we're trying it with flame. So we're going to see how this works. You know, we're just off to some wild arts and crafts here. Okay. It's still twisting a little bit. I may need more. Yeah. Okay. I need some more. I did not get enough glue on the placer, which that's fine. We learn. I'm trying not to actually torch the glue. Minimal success. Because I do want it like sticky. We're doing it live, you know? We're doing it live. Okay, that's a hefty amount of glue. Shoving it in. Oh yeah, that feels way more secure. Oh, okay. This is like pretty solid. And she says that in order to get it out, once it's like dried, you just twist it and pull it, and then you can pull the glue out with tweezers, which I do believe you can, because the acrylic, it would take a lot more heat than just a glue stick to melt the acrylic. So I think we should be able to do that. Cool. Wow. That was easier than I thought it was going to be. Not that I thought it was going to be that difficult. I just, you know, doing crafts that involve fire for the first time, it's always exciting. So So do I try it on this? This is my Black Wolf Woodworks pen. This is my favorite pen. I love this so much. But the tip rocks back and forth a little bit. I'm using washi, but I'm a little nervous because this pen, it's just a little bit more fragile. It's not quite as sturdy, the resin. And I just have a little bit of anxiety about that. So I may not. But I will do it on this pen. So this is from Diamond Painting Pen Pals, also on Etsy. And this is that really hard acrylic resin. So that I'm not worried about. I'm going to peel the washi off so we get the gunk off. And this is a metal placer. So this is one of the Diamond Art Club. I think it's the 10, maybe the 12. One of their larger placers. That I'm not worried about getting damaged by hot glue at all. Haha. There we go. Okay. Don't do this if you're underage. I probably should have made that disclaimer first. Ask for parents' help when you're working with fire. I am, in fact, above the age of 21. So any damage that I do is going to be my own fault. Okay, cool. Definitely have enough heat. Getting quite a bit of glue. Okay. Oh, yeah. Lots of glue. Wow. Putting that off to the side not on the canvas directly. Sticking this in. And so you can see the extra glue, which that's fine. That doesn't bother me because like once that dries, it's not going to be placed and it means it's wedged in there. Yeah. The only thing is I probably should have paid attention. So this has a roll stop, and sometimes I use the roll stop with my thumb. I probably should have paid attention to that. Is it too late to twist it? Yes, it already... Wait. Oh, we still got a little bit of movement. It's still a little soft enough. Okay. Okay, that's much better because now I can hold it the way I like to hold it with my thumb on the roll stop and place it. Okay, now I'm going to let this set. Cure, I think is the word. Cool. Thanks for going on that crafting journey with me today. Welcome to the channel, y'all, on M Asks Why. I'm M. I don't think I actually introduced myself this time. That's where my head is at. I'm still distracted. I literally just got my second WIP Chat posted like 5 minutes ago. I filmed it 2 weeks ago, and then, which was already after a little bit of a filming delay, filmed it. Took me forever to get it edited. Not for any real reason other than I just needed to sit down and do it. It's not like even hard editing because it's a WIP Chat, so I'm not doing a ton of really bizarre editing on it. I just have to like do it. And that took a minute. That took a minute. But we're up now. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and film the next one and get it ready. Because I would really, really like to be consistent with this. I would really like to create and post videos on somewhat of a regular schedule. I understand that my schedule and my wife's work schedule are a little funky, and that makes it harder for me to maintain some routines and habits. But also I've noticed that I'm struggling with routine. Struggling is the wrong word. I am slacking on some routines. I'm just kind of being like, no, I don't want to. And I'm letting it fall to the wayside, even though I would really benefit from doing them. And a lot of times it's even stuff that I enjoy doing. It's not just things that are, annoying. So I'm really trying to be more intentional about that over the next few weeks. So while those two are still curing a little bit, I'm going to load up the single placers. So today I'm going to be using my Weed Wax Rainforest Sugarcane. I put this in the fridge to see how that impacts, now that things are getting warmer here, how that impacts the wax by it being in the fridge. It's generally a harder wax, which I like. That works better for me and my climate here. But I was noticing that it was starting to create some residue. And I was wondering if it was just because it was getting warmer, and it gets kind of warm in the upstairs, which is where my craft room is. So I was like, okay, maybe if I put it in the fridge, which it's a little mini fridge, so it doesn't get cold. It's, like a Walmart special kind of thing. But I thought that might make a difference. It does already feel a little bit colder, like a little bit stiffer. So we'll see. So we're going to try that in this single placer. And then, but I do really like this wax. I would definitely get more. And then I'm going to try my brand new patty wax in the others. So this is the scent Evening Fireflies. I have a patty wax that I got in a D-stash that I've used before, but I wanted to try a different one, like a brand new one, just to make sure that I know like what the consistency is, because I don't know how old the one from the D-stash I got was, but I liked it. Ooh. It's very like, almost like a laundry smell, like a florally laundry smell. I like it. So I want to try it and just see what a brand new square, how that responds. Oh, this is soft. Oh, wow. Okay. So that's softer. So good to know that the older one is a bit firmer. It could also be that this just arrived and it was in the mail, and so it may be that it needs to be reset a little bit from travel. So we're going to try it, and if it doesn't work for me today, that's fine. I'll pop that in the fridge and let it recure for a little bit. I've been on a wax and putty hunt, and I've been buying a bunch of things from D-stashes, like friends' D-stashes, because I want to try things and figure out like what do I really, really like. And that way it helps them out. They don't have stuff they don't want around their house laying around. And I get to try things, like I get to try a variety of things at one go. And so then when I'm ready to order more from the shops, I know what I want. Yeah, this is pretty sticky. Okay. I did also get a super sticky from them, like the super sticky patty wax. And I wonder if in the summer that's going to be better. Sorry, if you hear the dogs, the outside neighbor, the neighbor is working in their driveway, which like neighbors are allowed to do that. But the dogs really feel like they should have asked for permission first. And so they are providing a running commentary on everything that the neighbor is doing. And it can be a bit much. So hopefully they will calm down now. But we'll see. And then I need the pink wax. I think actually, what am I going to fill on the other end? I don't even know if I'm going to put anything in this single placer. This might just be my adjustment placer. So I've been keeping one single placer free without anything in it to adjust. Lately, like when I have a drill that's like just a little bit wonky, I've been keeping a blank and unsticky, unwax, unfilled single placer to nudge. And that's been working really well because then I don't have to worry about it like pulling the wax out or messing with any coatings. And it definitely doesn't leave any residue. So I think I'm just going to leave that one blank and filling this up. It doesn't need to be fancy wax because it's really just for some of the wild multi-placing. Which, like, the pink heart wax isn't my favorite wax, but I've been finding that it holds the consistency fairly well, even in the summer. I think it gets a bad rap that it maybe doesn't deserve. I do have a pink wax from Michael's that I got that is not good. I do not enjoy it. So I've been putting some of that into the multi-placer for stuff like this because I'm like, I just need to run through it and I don't care. And if I'm only using it for the 15 placer, I can just kind of deal with it. Okay, I need a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Wow, dog hair. Okay, great. Which these squares have some big line placing. in the bottom, and then the upper squares don't. Where did that wax? There it is. Put the lid back on the heart. I'm going to pop this in the bag so I don't misplace it. And then I think things will have cured because this isn't budging. And so, yeah, that's not budging. Great. Okay. Then for regular putty in my metal multi-placers, I am using Randa's Crafty Corner, which is one of my favorites. This is the Black Currant and Absinthe scent. It's kind of like sweet. It doesn't smell strongly of absinthe for anyone who's concerned about that. It is a little sweet and a little florally, but not aggressively so, because I am not an aggressively floral person. Let me see. So I like to kind of like wedge it. This is not working, but wedge it and then pull to get a decent chunk in there. I'm going to want a little bit more because these multi-placers are pretty deep from Diamond Art Club. So I'm just going to section off another whack of it, basically. Shove that in there. Some other putties I prefer to like really work the putty and get it warmed up and stretched out, but Randa's, it's a little bit of a harder putty, like consistency harder, stiffer. And so I like it. I find I don't have to fidget with it as much. I just tried another putty from, I think it's Bliss Wax. I don't remember. Maybe Bliss Wax Designs. And I liked it, but I think it's going to have to be winter. I think it just gets too warm here and the putty just gets too soft too quickly. So I've also put that in the fridge to see if maybe that makes a difference. But my suspicion is that I'm just going to have to wait until winter to really use that one, which is fine. Such are the joys of living in the South, which I know I talked about this in the last WIP Chat, like the weather and everything. It's actually really nice here right now. I probably should have spent more time outside today enjoying the last bit of non-heinous weather, but you know, oh well, here's where we are. Let me see then. So yeah, it's been really nice that it's been temperate. It hasn't been disgustingly humid the past few days, which is lovely. Do I want to work on this square or do I want to work across? I think I want to work on this square. Yeah. This is a Coverminder from Shire Shenanigans, Nicole at Shire Shenanigans. She made this super cute Ear of the Snake. Hisp. I am a snake, and so I bought this from her shop. Love it so much. It's super cute. She makes such nice Coverminders. Go check her out for sure. Focus M. Focus. Yeah, the weather's been great. Wow. So one of the things I've been doing recently over the past month or so is I've been volunteering at a therapeutic riding center. I don't remember if I've talked about this before on WIP Chat. I don't think I have. I really wanted something to do that was a little bit out of the house, but was like a relatively low stakes thing where like I didn't have to commit to a huge project. Why is this empty? Why is this empty? That shouldn't be empty. I think I put them. Did I put it in here? Yes. Okay. Wow. Cool. Way to freak myself out. And this one is. Ooh. Is this one? Yes. Okay. Yeah, so I was doing this last time I was working on this kit, and I conveniently forgot to make a note of that because I love to give myself heart attacks. This is fine. Because these two colors are used so much, I poured them into the trays. And so this is the Yuumei big tray. And then this is my Bijou Bliss Aquarius tray. And I needed H, the 951, so that's where it went. Again, I love that I did that and that I didn't make any note of it. That's so kind of me to do to me. Wow, thanks, M. Thanks, past M. You really did current M a solid there. Just kidding. I probably should mark this, but you know, we're just gonna deal with it. So have been volunteering, and it's been really, really wonderful for me. It's been a wonderful thing for my mental health in that I get to spend time around horses. I love horses. I was a horse girl growing up, and I miss them. I haven't ridden in a long time, which is okay. But it's been really wonderful to just have some barn time and getting able to groom and tack up. And then I've been volunteering as a horse leader for therapeutic riding lessons, in that I literally just help guide the horse around the lessons so that way the rider can focus on the things the rider needs to focus on. And it's been wonderful. It's been really incredibly warm, and everyone there has been really friendly, and the horses are so well cared for, and they're very just happy little guys. And it's really about just people hanging out with horses just for the heck of it, and spending time doing these things because they love it. It's not an uppity barn. It doesn't have a lot of concerning barn culture that some places do. And the other volunteers have been really kind and warm. And the owner I've met a couple times. She's a little scatterbrained, but in a nice way. And yeah, I just feel really, really lucky that I found this just kind of on a lark, and that I've been able to do it. And so I went yesterday, and because I've been going on Friday afternoons, that's when I have time, and they really need support with walkers on Friday afternoons for those lessons. And it just kind of worked out perfectly that I've had time. So I went yesterday, and the weather yesterday was so nice, so nice. The horse I was leading definitely was feeling the cooler weather. She was a bit spunky, a bit awake, where sometimes, with the weather, the horses are very sedate because they don't like the heat and they don't want to work in the heat. But since it was a bit cooler, she was like, oh, I'm awake. Which is not always the greatest thing when you're in a therapeutic class. Sometimes you want a little bit more of a sedate horse in a therapeutic class because the riders are sometimes more nervous, understandably so. And so you want a horse that isn't going to do anything particularly wild on you. So I had to have a conversation with her. Her name is Jingle, and she and I had a little conversation about who was in charge and who was actually leading. And it was that I was leading. But once we had that conversation, it was great. And she was still very sweet and very friendly. She just kind of had some energy and was like, oh, okay, we're going. This is a lesson. I know what to do. I know how to move. And I'd be like, no, honey, no, we're not doing quite like that right now. But yeah, it was really, I need a better word than nice. It was really rewarding to get to do that. One thing that I like about it is that most of the time I don't really have to talk. And don't get me wrong, I recognize the importance of talking to the kids, and I do. And if there's a kid who wants to talk to me, I absolutely do. And I will help teach them as I can. And if I feel that they need, some support and some guidance, like if they're nervous, I'm definitely participating and helping. So let me just put that out there. But I like that sometimes I can just go and be with the horse, and that's my main priority, and keeping an eye out for the rider, of course, but not having to really be on, so to speak. Because with my job at work, I am on, and I have to really use a lot of mental and social energy. And it's a lot of masking and a lot of just thinking and really intense communication skills. And so this week in particular, I was at the end of my work week. I was just like, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want a human for like a month, which I still kind of feel like that, even though I've had a few days off. I still am just like, I don't want to talk to people. I just kind of want to be alone, and just kind of do my own thing. And so it's really nice how, for the most part, for the therapeutic writing, I get to just do that. I talk a little bit in terms of like, here's the horse that I'm going to take care of, and I'll talk to the other people there to say, hey, but I don't have to be a social butterfly. There are other people there who are social butterflies, which is wonderful because I get to kind of be around them and, say hi to them. But they have other people that they can get that social joy from. And it's just, if you're not a social person, or if you're somebody who's neurodivergent and also masks, I hope you understand. Like, let me know. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, it's not that I'm trying to avoid people per se. And it's not that I'm feeling shy. I just don't have the energy all the time. Socializing takes a ton out of me. And sometimes I need to not have to do it. Which on that note, so had the therapeutic writing lesson yesterday. My wife took Rain to the vet because she needed a second dose of a vaccine. And then she was being a little funny anyway. So it was good that we had the appointment lined up. But so Taters took Rain to the vet, which bless her for taking her. And however, getting her up and out the door was a little bit of a process. And then, trying to like coordinate, because Taters is texting me about, this is going on, which like, okay, fine. But it was at a time in which I'm normally dead asleep. It was at 9 a.m., which is normally like kind of right in the middle of my sleep cycle, because of night shift. And so like getting the texts and then trying to deal with that, and things had been really stressful the night before. Thursday was a little bit discombobulated, and took a lot of social energy out of me, some of the stuff that I did. And yesterday just kind of fell apart. It was not a great day. For no real reason, it just took a lot out of me, and I shut down. I went to the grocery store after I went to the riding lesson, which it's one of those things where the grocery store can be really overstimulating, and it's a holiday weekend. So there were a lot of other people there, and sometimes the grocery store is the right amount of stimulus for me, and sometimes it's just too much. Well, I miscalculated, and yesterday it was on the too much side. And so I got home and I shut down. I just absolutely shut down. I didn't really mean to. I hadn't really planned on it. There were other things that I wanted to do, but my brain just said, no, you are done. You can't do anymore. Your choices are either meltdown or shutdown. And I chose shutdown because that is way better for my relationships and my sense of self. So I had a huge shutdown, felt almost hungover coming out of it, which is, kind of a thing that happens. And then when Taters got home, she also was just wiped because it's Memorial Day weekend. And with her job, she has to do she's a park ranger. And so she's the closing ranger this weekend, which means she has a lot of additional responsibilities and like safety stuff she has to take care of. And in holiday weekends, people just tend to be a little more needy when they come to the park. And so she had a lot of things that she was managing and some stuff with coworkers. And so she also just like collapsed. So we both just kind of got in bed and just sat in bed last night. And then I slept a wild amount over the course of both yesterday and today. And I guess I just needed it. For the past few weeks, I've been trying to be really strict about my sleep because I was sleeping a lot for a while. And I was like, okay, I need to not just sleep all of the time. Let me, try and do more things, engage more. Well, then I crashed yesterday and a little bit of today. And so I don't know if that's because yesterday really was that overwhelming, or it's my body telling me, no, you silly goose, you really, really do need that much sleep, and trying to tell yourself that you don't need that much sleep because you think you shouldn't have that much sleep. It's not really how that works. Could be that. Who knows? It's the joys of being neurodivergent. We'll figure it out. But so today I'm in a much better headspace. I'm taking it a little more slowly, paying a little bit more attention to what my body is saying about what it needs for the day. And so just wanted to film this WIP Chat. So onto the piece a little bit. Okay, gosh. I was working on Feline Familiars. I finished that piece. I posted in the Crafters Den Discord. I finished it. It's beautiful. I really like how it turned out. It's not my favorite piece that I've worked on. I can confirm I am not a rounds color blocking girl. That is not fun for me. Rounds I find them tedious. I found them really difficult to place. I found them difficult to space out. It just was really hard. I know some people really love rounds and they feel that it's a lot easier for them and that it goes a lot faster. I did not have that experience. I think because I kept fidgeting with them and I was getting so frustrated. Not frustrated is too strong of a word. I was getting concerned with like how certain things were placing. And then parts of it just felt almost boring with the color blocking. And I think I'm just a squares girl, and I may even be a confetti girl, which I did not anticipate. When I first started this, I had thought, I'm definitely going to be a color blocking person because I am going to like how fast it goes. Nope. I talked about this in my 25 questions video. And now that I have completed a round kit with a lot of color blocking, I can confirm that that's just not what I love. So I'm going to have to go through my stash a little bit and maybe make some de-stash choices. And just kind of see. I do have one kit that is rounds that is going to be a lot of color blocking. It's a Winnie the Pooh kit. But I really like the kit and I wanted to give it as a gift. So I may just have to like power through it. It's relatively small. So it's not like a huge kit full of round color blocking. So I may just like have to just commit and say, you know what, I'm going to do it. And we're just going to maybe alternate between rows or something. I don't know. But so I finished that kit, the Feline Familiars, and then I started the Spring Mystery Kit from Jaded Gem Shop, which is also squares. It's my first Jaded Gem Shop kit. It's my first mystery kit. And and I'm loving it. The squares, the grid fits together really nicely, which I've heard other people talk about before, and I completely agree with them that the grid is super nice. The drills sit very nicely on the canvas. I like the glue. I'm finding that there's a lot of trash in the drills, and I don't know if that's a me thing where maybe I got a weird batch, or if it's just that's just kind of how her drills come, and it just like is. I don't have a lot of experience with small shop kits, so it could be that that's just like how this works. So I am having to go through the drills a lot more than I would on some other kits, but I'm not like, it's not to the point where it's unworkable or anything like that. It's just something I kind of have to pay attention to. The kit is full of specials, which the trash drills aren't just in the specials. I expected some from the specials because of like the nature of that process. But it's in a lot of the colors. But the kit is full of special drills and they're gorgeous. I'm loving doing it. So I gridded it up, and the way Jade does her mystery kits is that the plastic cover is black. So you get the kit and you get the canvas and it has a black piece of plastic over it, so you can't see anything. And so I've gridded it out and then wrote numbers on the grid, and I'm randomly pulling numbers as which block I'm going to work on. And so I can't even really see it. It's just kind of coming together bits and pieces. I'm having so much fun doing that. If you're in the Crafters Den, I posted a picture in the Discord of how I'm working it up. If you don't mind some mild spoilers, I'm not very far in the kit, so it doesn't really show what the full image is, if that's what you're worried about. I did accidentally spoil myself on the image. I wasn't really thinking, and I clicked on a spoiler marked image in the Discord, and so then I saw the full image. But it's really cute, so I don't super mind, but I was trying to keep myself from spoiling myself until I was like halfway done. But oh well, it's okay. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still absolutely going to work on it. I haven't decided if I'm going to work on it on a video or not, because I don't want to spoil it for other people necessarily. So that's why I pulled Books Nooks back out. I was like, well, I really want to finish this anyway. I need to work on this kit regardless, and so I may as well do it for the video. But so I started working on that, but I really want to finish Books and Nooks because I decided, okay, I really don't want to have more than 2 WIPs going. I really would prefer to only have 1 WIP going. I think that's just kind of where I'm at, is I'm a 1 to 2 WIP girl. I'm learning so much about myself since starting this channel and like really committing to diamond painting. Be like, no, really, this is my hobby for now. This is my craft. And so I need to finish this because June, I already know what kit I want to work on for June for Pride Month. And June is in like a week. June is next Sunday. So do I think I'm going to finish Books and Nooks before June 1st? No. Does that give me anxiety? A little bit. So I may be hustling through to see. It's okay if I don't finish it by June 1st. Like, that's not critical. But I really kind of want to finish it early in June so that way I can kit up and get started. So the kit that I'm going to be working on is Daylight by Puffy Gator, which is a round, but I don't think it's a lot of color blocking. And also I bought the enhancements kit from DP with Sparklers. So it'll be my first time working with enhancements, and I'm very excited about that. I got the kit in, the enhancements, and the drills are so pretty. It's so much fun. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. Let's see. And then, other diamond painting. So how about that, like 4 weeks in a row of wild Diamond Art Club releases? I have held strong, and I did not buy for the past, I haven't bought from Diamond Art Club. I think it's been 2 months. Or no, I set a goal for myself for could I hold off buying, I think it was 6 weeks. and tomorrow makes 6 weeks because I just really want to like get control of my stash and not fall into the overconsumption trap. So that's what that's about for me. And so then, of course, Diamond Art Club says, cool, okay, we're going to test you. Oh, my goodness. Dark Lilith, incredible. Mani from Chrysabug, that is the one that I regret. I told myself I'm going to hold strong. I'm not going to buy, and I didn't. And I regret it. I regret not picking him up. Jessica over at the Stealthy Crafter has been working on that kit, and it is phenomenal. I'm debating if I should just try and get him from a D stash, or should I just keep waiting for the restock? I really should just wait for the restock. It will restock eventually. It's just 6 months feels like a really long time to wait for a restock. But then there have been so many other good ones. So the other one that I was really, really looking at was last week, the Miss Holly kit of the Japanese woman in the yukata. Those colors are gorgeous, and the dark blue and metallics is how I want to do up our guest bedroom. And so I'm really thinking about picking that one up. Because it's still in stock, or it was yesterday. I haven't checked today, but it was in stock yesterday. And there's another one, a beach scene by Christian Reese Lassen that I've had my eye on. And so I'm really hoping that Diamond Art Club does a Memorial Day discount code. So I have them sitting in my cart, and I'm just staring at them and hoping and crossing my fingers and just waiting to see if there's going to be a discount code. Some people said that they got a discount code in the mail. So I've been checking my mail to see if they like auto-generated one, and I have not received one, which doesn't really mean anything because I don't know how their marketing team decides to send those out. And there is the VIP. What did I just do? There is the VIP group code, which I have put in, but I was really hoping for like a bigger discount, like a 20 or 25% discount, because the VIP group is 15. So I was really hoping for a 20 or 25% discount code for Memorial Day. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until Monday and see if there is a discount code that comes out. And if not, I'm just going to get those two kits because I know I will be really frustrated if they sell out and I don't get them. The Christian Reese Lassen one, I think it's the Eternal Sunrise one. It's not the new one. It's not the Lahaina one. It's one of the other. It's an older kit, not old, but slightly older. That I love the colors, and every time I look at it, it's like I can hear the beach. I can hear the sound of the waves. And I grew up doing Christian Reese Lassen puzzles with my dad during beach trips. And so it's very nostalgic for me to see his artwork in diamond art. And so I really would like to do that kit. It would throw off some of my plans in terms of what kits I'm working on next, but that's okay. I don't really care. So I most likely will be getting those kits if they don't sell out. It's just a matter of, am I getting them with the VIP group discount or like a bigger discount code? We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, and Dark Lilith is stunning as well. I saw Katie over at Diamonds and Washi working on that kit, and then I saw Natalie with Diet Coke and Diamonds working on it. It's stunning. That one I'll definitely pick up in a restock too. I was okay waiting for that one because I'm not a Margaret Morales diehard. I like her artwork. I have one kit from her and I think it's really pretty, but I'm a little more particular. But that one I would get because the specials and the rendering is just stunning. in the final piece. So yeah, that one I would get on a restock. There was one other one that just came out that I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, the ducks, like everyone's talking about the ducks because the ducks are great. I don't have any of the duck pieces. I want the laundry one. And then there's one that is in voting that's ducks and cats. And that one I really want. But the laundry one, I think there's one that's blue. I don't know if it's launched yet. There's one that's a lot of blue colors, and that's the one I really want as well. But I know those have been going super fast on launch days, which is great for the artist and great for us because it means we're going to get more of her artwork, hopefully. But I have not been trying to get it on launch day. And then what else? Diamond art wise. Taters is thinking about picking up her diamond art kits again. She has a couple, like 3. She doesn't have any Diamond Art Club ones yet. I keep staring at certain ones and thinking of her. And I bought one. I bought that kitty cat from the Amazon releases. The new one, the small cat, because it looks so much like Barnacle. And I bought that one thinking that she would probably want to do it. She loved it when it came in. So I'm going to try and encourage her to complete that kit because I think she'd really enjoy it. And it's small. It's like 13 by 13. So it's not one of the, behemoths that Diamond Art Club comes out with that I love. I love a big kit. But trying to keep things approachable for her. So she was talking the other day about like restarting Diamond Art. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So I'm going to have to see if she actually does want to restart working on her kits. That's totally up to her. I'm not going to force her into it. It's totally on her time. It's her hobby. I think she should do what she wants the way she encourages me to do what I want. But I will say that if she decides to work on these things, I might try and get a joint set up and have her as a guest on a WIP Chat because I think she's hilarious. I think my wife is one of the funniest people. She always makes me laugh. And I honestly think she would do really well as like a streamer or a YouTuber if she decided she wanted to. So anytime that I can like get her in front of a camera, I'm going to. I'm going to be like, hey, babe. We've done joint streams before on Twitch when I would go live more regularly on Twitch. And those were always a lot of fun to do. So I'm going to try and get her on the channel so that y'all can meet her and understand why I think she's so funny. She's just got a really warm and enthusiastic personality that's fun to listen to. And yeah, so I'm hoping that this will be another way that I can sneakily try and get her to be a content creator because, yeah, I'm biased, of course, but I want to share her with the world. We always joke and say that she should have gone into musical theater and she like missed her calling in musical theater. So if that tells you anything about her personality and edutainment as a passion of hers. So we'll see, because I know that normally this is the long weekend in the US, Memorial Day, but she works and I'm working. So like I'm working the next few days. So we don't have Memorial Day off together, but maybe on the next time that she has a longer stretch of days off, we'll see. It'll depend on if she is actually like, yeah, okay, I want to get back into diamond painting, or if she's been wanting to woodwork and she's been working on projects in the garage and like outdoor stuff. So that may be where her head is for the next little while, which is like totally fine. Like I said, she can, she gets to pick her hobbies. But if she gets it in her head that she's like, oh, it's nighttime now, but I still want something to do with my hands. I'm like, oh, do you? Because it's a little bit harder to do some of the outdoor stuff when it's dark. Then, oh yeah, speaking of work, I'm actually going to be changing my work schedule. So one of the things, I work at a hospital, I work in mental health, in the emergency department, and the leadership for my department, they keep track of heat maps, which is when patients come in and, you know, kind of like what rate do they come in, and they use that to determine some staffing in terms of how many clinicians or other people should we have on staff at any given time based on traffic. So, you know, like the fairly normal stuff. Well, things have changed. Some of the ebbs and flows have changed over the past year, and they've now found that based on the data that weeknights are very busy, which it didn't used to be. It used to be kind of Fridays and Sundays were hot spots, and then sometimes Mondays. But now it's basically Monday through Thursday nights, especially around 9 p.m. are just extremely busy. Don't know why, have no real insight into that. It's very difficult to like really predict or say why, but still it's what we're seeing is that those are some hot times. And so they've been looking at staff allocations and, you know, should we move some people around? And there have been some change in staff recently. And so my direct supervisor reached out and said, hey, you know, with the heat maps, would you want to work Thursday, Friday, Saturdays? Which confused me a little bit because those weren't necessarily the days that I had seen on the heat map. And I thought about it, talked to Taters about it. And Fridays and Saturdays would just be super, super difficult for me. Sundays I can make work because I've kind of built my life with that schedule in mind. But so with the horses and some of the other things I've got going on, Fridays and Saturdays just are really, it would be really tough for me to make that work without like a lot of rearranging and a lot of notice. So I said, no, I can't make those days work. Very long story short, I let the leadership know that, hey, okay, I can't make Friday, Saturdays work, but if you want to rearrange my days, I work 3 12-hour shifts. So I have Sunday through Thursday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, those 5 days that you can kind of like play around with and figure out when makes the most sense for me to work. I currently work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you know, and so they looked at some things and reached out and said, would you be willing to work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which is something that I've thought about before because it means that I would have Saturday, Sunday off in a row. Which Tater's schedule is, we will call it unpredictable. And it changes all of the time. There's no real rhyme or reason. There's somewhat of a flow, like once a month, but it's not easy to say, oh, she has like every Monday off or something like that. So there's always going to be times where she works and I don't, and vice versa, always. But in the past, let's call it few months, her supervisor has been trying to have it so that she more regularly has Tuesday, Wednesdays off, and then Saturday, Sundays off. So we talked about it, and I am going to switch to doing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It does mean that Tuesdays, Wednesdays, when she has those off, that we probably wouldn't have off together, but her weekdays are a little bit easier for her to move around. And they're also a little bit easier for me to get coverage. So if I knew in advance, okay, let me try and take these days off or switch them with somebody, I might be able to. So that way we could have more days off together in a row. Whereas right now with our schedule, we have lots of like one-offs together, and that's hard. Because it's like by the time we finally reconnect, one of us has to go back to work. And like, it's not the end of the world, But I think if we can give it a go where we have 2 days off together more regularly, I think it might be really nice. And also, I've been in my current work schedule for like a year and a half now. And so I think just inviting like a little bit of change could be good. Just to shake it up a little bit and without like totally overhauling my life. And my role is going to be the same. My duties will be the same. The day-to-day tasks of my job are going to be the same. It's literally just the hours that I work that's changing. So I think it'll be good. And I'm coming up on licensure, which I've talked about a little bit. So I need to really start studying. And so one of the things is, of course, asking myself, once I get fully licensed, do I want to change my role or not? Do I want to change the organization I work at or not? You know, what kind of change do I want to have? And I don't know yet. I don't have the answer to any of those questions, but it's something that I think about. And so I think just having this little bit of schedule change might give me some more information in a low stakes risk kind of way to help decide as I get closer and closer to full licensure, what do I want the next few years to look like? But so the one thing I'm a little nervous about is right now working Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It means that Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays are days that the rest of the world typically works. And so Thursdays tend to be appointment days. Wednesday is like a recovery day. Thursdays are appointment days. And then Fridays are more social days. So this would mean that Fridays would become recovery days. Saturday, Sunday would be more social. And then I really only would have Mondays for appointment days. And not everywhere is open on Fridays or Mondays. So that might get a little tricky to organize. But I don't have that many appointments in general. And some of the things that I already have scheduled, it's enough in advance that I can ask for time off. Actually, I need to look. Oh, that's the one thing. I'm supposed to have a crown done soon. When do I have that scheduled for? Okay, yeah, I have a crown appointment scheduled in mid-June, so I need to call them this week and move that appointment because it's scheduled on a Thursday, and I no longer have Thursdays available. Oh boy. So that's going to be a pain unless somebody would be able to. I may ask for it off and I may say, hey, you know, this was a standing appointment that I had before I agreed to this. I can work Monday that week, but I really need Thursday off. Maybe I'll just ask my supervisor about that, because that would be a lot easier than trying to just like everything else. I don't know. Yeah, okay, so I think the rest of what I have to talk about is I was tagged a few weeks ago in my top 5 diamond painting tag by Natalie over at Diet Coke and Diamonds. She created a tag with questions about like my top 5 things in a couple different categories. And she tagged me in it. And I have been rather belated in responding. So I am going to do that now. So the first category, I wrote it down. The first category, top 5 artists. And she says that the top 5 artists, it can be any artist. It doesn't have to just be diamond painting artists, which is good because a couple of the artists that I really love don't currently have their artwork licensed for diamond art, which is unfortunate. This is going to be in no particular order. It's just going to kind of be people that I really appreciate their art. So the first of my favorite artists is Mucha, Alphonse Mucha. I love Art Nouveau so much. I love the swirls and the geometry and the play between design and realism of Art Nouveau. I love when it transcends between paintings into real life objects like doors, Art Nouveau doors. Love that. Love that so much. Lamps, love that. And so Alphonse Mucha is one of like the big names in Art Nouveau, and he is one of my favorites. He does have a few diamond painting kits. Jaded Gem Shop has a few, and Diamond Art Club has a few. I have not bought any of them yet. I've really thought about it, but the ones that are currently produced are not my favorite color palettes, except for the Zodiac kit. And so I don't know if I would enjoy working on them. And I'm trying to not buy things that I don't think I would enjoy working on. But I'm keeping my eye out for more, and I have thought about getting one for Summer of the Masters, which I'm not going to be participating in this year, but maybe in the future. So I don't own an Alphonse Mucha kit, but I really thought about it. So that's my first favorite artist. Then my second favorite artist is someone that I support on Patreon. The artist's name is Denim Catfish, and she does a lot of sapphic art. So like lesbians. She does a lot of lesbian art, and she did some fan art of one of my absolute favorite book series, The Locked Tomb, which I am feral for. And that's how I found her art, was her Locked Tomb fan art, and I support her on Patreon, and I just love her artwork so much. I think the colors are great. The characters are great. She has a lot of expressions in her artwork, and some dynamic posing. That's a lot of fun. I don't know if her artwork would translate well into diamond art, just because I just don't know if it would, but if she did decide to make diamond art, it could be fun, and I would buy the kits for sure. So second, then let's see. Third favorite artist. A relatively new to me artist who I really appreciate their artwork, and I wish it would get licensed because I think it would be a lot of fun to do diamond art of, is Unicorn Eclipse. I found her through her I think she uses she, her pronouns. So I'm not sure. So I found them through their notebook line and like printed goods, notebooks and sticky notes. Their products were carried at a local bookstore that I love. And that's how I was first introduced. And so they do a lot of really cutesy scenes, like lo-fi and plants and whales, kind of all mixed together. And I think it would be so much fun to diamond paint some of that artwork. It's very slice of life, lo-fi nostalgia. Love it. Love it. And so I wish they would get licensed. That would be great. And so that was three. And so two of my favorite diamond painting artists are Chrissa Bug, for sure. I wasn't super familiar with her art before I started diamond painting. I had kind of seen it, kind of heard of it, but now that I'm fully into diamond painting, I really appreciate her renderings, especially of mythology. Love her mythological pieces. And I think she just handles expressions so well. And then, okay, yeah, I have to say. So I was going to say another favorite diamond painting artist, but I have to say my other favorite artist, who is not currently licensed for diamond paintings, and I really, really, really wish he was, is James Gurney. So James Gurney is an illustrator who did the Dinotopia series, which if you are a 90s kid, a 90s kid, especially in the US, the Dinotopia series. He created the Dinotopia world and did the art renderings for a couple of the anthologies and all of the book covers. And Dinotopia is one of my first entries into art. And I was obsessed with those books as a kid, especially the illustrated books. They're children's books, but they're not like children's books in the traditional sense. They're more like illustrated novels, and they're designed to look like explorers' notebooks, and as they're discovering the Dinotopia world. And I am just so impressed and inspired by his artwork and how he approaches light and color. And I would be beside myself if we got Dinotopia diamond art. Just, maybe I should reach out to licensing to see if they would do James Gurney, because that would. And I've talked with him before in emails, and he is so nice, so friendly, and just a very chill, down to earth kind of guy. And yeah, I would be beyond myself with excitement if we got James Gurney diamond art. Oh, please, Dak, please. Yeah, I should just submit it to licensing. What am I saying? let me just convince myself of this right now. So, top 5 artists. Second category, top 5 paintings completed. I'm going to stretch the rules on this one a little bit because I haven't been diamond painting for that long. I don't have that many completed pieces. So the first one, though, is actually a diamond art piece, and it is Naughty Space Void by Yuumei. That was my very first Diamond Art Club kit, and it's one of my very favorites. I love the art so much. I love the colors. I love the kitty cat. I need to dry mount it. It is hanging in the office, and I need to dry mount it so that I can display it. So that will always and forever be one of my favorites. Then... what's another piece that I've completed? So 2 of the other pieces I've completed I don't love, so I'm not going to list them. Then, I'm so slow. This is the problem, is that I am a slow diamond painter. So it takes me a long time to complete pieces because I love large pieces. I love large pieces that take a decent amount of time, and I am slow. So this just, I don't have a ton of completed pieces, but I do have a background in art. So I will just talk a little bit about some of the artwork that I've made that I loved. So the first piece is a cow illustration that I did. A cow painting that I did. I did this in high school, senior year of high school. It's one of my favorite pieces I've ever painted. It is... do we have it hanging? Where is it? Yes, my cousin has it. So the cows, we call them the cows. I never named it. We just call it the cows. It's huge. It's like a 5 foot by 4 foot painting, and it of these brightly colored cows. Because cows are just a lot of fun for me to paint. I think it's just the splotches and their silly faces. I really enjoy rendering them. And so the cows have become kind of a rite of passage for people in our family, in that when they move into a new house, the cows kind of go with them for a period of time. And so my cousin moved to the area almost a year ago at this point. And she moved into her new apartment about 6 months ago. And so I took the cows over and I said, you get to have the cows for a little while. And so the cows are hanging in her apartment and they look great. And they've lived in my brother's apartment in West Virginia for a little while. They've lived in a bunch of different houses of close family members. They need to go back to West Virginia because my brother just bought a new home. They need to go live with him for a little while. and then they need to come back down here and live in our house that we're living in now for a little while. You know, so the traveling cows. I wonder if I have a picture, and if I do, I'll pop it on the screen if I have a photo. But yeah, the cows are just very sentimental. And I do just genuinely like the piece. I think it turned out well, and people tend to enjoy them when they see the render. So that is the second favorite. The third favorite painting I've completed, I hand painted ornaments as wedding gifts. So Taters and I got married in the winter in 2023, and we gave hand painted Christmas ornaments on little, like yay big on little wood tags as the favors. And so I painted a whole bunch of different landscapes and animals and scenes, 25 individual little paintings, and gave one to each family. And we also have one. And so that was just really sentimental and really, it was a really fun thing to do and a really nice thing to do to work on. Like, I worked on it throughout the year. So that way I would have enough time. I still ended up having to crunch because procrastination is real. But, and I just kind of painted them randomly. And then after they were all done, I painted people's names on them. So I didn't have the image picked out in advance. I kind of chose from what I had painted for the most part. I think there was maybe one or two exceptions to that. But otherwise, I didn't have a person in mind. It's not like I said, oh, I'm going to paint a cat for Sally, or what have you. And so going through once they were all done and figuring out, who does this best reflect, or who do I think would appreciate this scene? That was also really nice to do. So it was a lot of work, but I very much appreciated it. And I think it was a nice touch because also a lot of the people at our wedding came from out of town. And so I didn't want to give them like a big bulky gift or like something. I didn't want to give them anything like that felt cheap or useless, meaningless. Like some wedding favors just feel they don't have a lot of soul to them. And mine and Tater's, the whole point of our wedding was that it was a really strong reflection of us, both as a couple and as individuals, and really welcoming people into family and celebration. And so most people at the wedding knew that I have a background in art. Even though I don't really work in art anymore, I went to an art college. And so they know that about me. And so being able to say, okay, now that here's a piece of M art was very meaningful, especially for the people there who knew me through my journey as an artist, knew me when I was in art school, when I was doing art more regularly. And so it was nice to just kind of keep that alive as well. So that's my third. Then fourth favorite painting. This is tough. I may not have a 4 and a 5 for painting. Just because I haven't completed that many diamond art kits. And the ones that I have completed, I haven't loved all of them. Why do I feel like there's one I'm missing? Because there probably is. Ugh. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it at 3 because I can't think of any other really meaningful pieces. I mean, there have been other meaningful like artworks that I've done that I could talk about. When I was in high school, so this piece wasn't one of my best pieces, let's say. I painted some ducks in the water. And I really enjoyed doing that piece because it was like fun, but it's not necessarily one of my best pieces, we'll say. However, when I was a senior in high school, I went to a portfolio day, which is where a bunch of different art colleges come and they all line up in a room. This was pre-digital, before you could just submit things for review. And so a bunch of art colleges would come and they stay in a room and you bring your portfolio and you walk around and you either have meetings scheduled or you talk to the different recruiters and show them your artwork, and they tell you, basically what they think of you and what they think of your art and if they want you to come to their college. So like, no pressure. So I was walking around and there was a small liberal arts college out in the western part of the state who was there. But I went up and talked to them basically just because I wanted feedback. I wasn't super interested in their program, but I was just trying to get feedback on my artwork. And so I went and I spoke with a recruiter, and then I spoke with one of the professors they had brought who was doing portfolio reviews. And when they landed on the piece about the ducks, they said, tell me about this piece. And so I just kind of talked through it a little bit. And then they said, tell me what you like about art, and, talk to them a little bit. And they gave me a piece of life-changing advice. And they said to me, I don't think you should go into painting. I said, how do you mean? And they said, don't take this the wrong way. They're not critiquing my art, so to speak, but they're like, based on the way you talk about art and based on what you say that your goals are and like how you think about things, they said, I think that you might want to consider illustration. And that was really powerful. And it really resonated with me because I had been thinking for a while, that was Storm. He apparently had a lot of thoughts on that. So you are fine. You don't have to sing. Yeah, you're okay. You silly boy. I don't even know what he wants. So anyway, the artist, the professor said, I think you should consider illustration because the way you talk about art is, and the way it's really about the thinking for you. You're not like living, dying, breathing, painting for the sake of painting. You like the problem solving and you like the art as a communication medium, which is true. That is oh my goodness. Hey. Hey. Rain. Hey. Knock it off. Rain. Hey. Okay. You like art as a communication medium, which, yes, absolutely. It's a way to evoke emotions and to express a thought. And so they said, illustration might be a better fit for you because so much of illustration is about how do you communicate concepts that goes along with a specific image or prompt, children's book, advertisement, what have you. And that I really took that to heart, and I really, really appreciated that feedback of, I might be looking in the wrong direction, that I'm probably not going to enjoy the process of becoming a full-time painter, and I'm not really in it for like high art's sake, which I'm not. That's not the kind of person that I am, and I wasn't then either. And so that was incredibly valuable feedback. And I remember that painting that I had done that they gave me that feedback on. And so that's one of my favorite paintings, just because, yeah, it really kind of changed the trajectory of my life there for a minute. I do not still have that painting. I don't even think I have a picture of that painting, but it was some ducks on a green river. I know that's what it was. Okay, moving on to the next category. Oh, 5 most anticipated. Okay, the 5 most anticipated kits in your stash. Ooh, yes. Okay. So this is going to be much easier for me to talk about. I am super, super excited to work on Daybreak by Puffy Gator because that's going to be the Pride piece and I have the enhancements for it. I am really excited to work on Lo-Fi Cali Girl by Yuumei. I have not seen anyone work on this piece. I really want to work on it in August. It's huge. It's a huge confetti square piece, which, yes, sign me up. I'm going to love it. But I haven't seen anyone work on it, which surprises me. It's honestly a kit that I was very surprised the Diamond Art Club launched. just because it's a little bit more, how do we say, political, in that it's kind of about climate change. And Diamond Art Club tends to not make a lot of political art pieces for, and I am not saying anything about their decision to do that or not do that. Just that I am surprised that they did produce this piece, but I'm glad because I think it's beautiful and I think it's going to be so much fun to work on. So I'm really looking forward to working on that piece. So that's number 2. Then I'm also really looking forward to working on Shelter by Geneva Bowers. I also got the enhancements kit from DP with Sparklers for that one. I think I want to work on that one in July. It's got the fish, it's underwater, it's so pretty. It'll be my first Geneva Bowers kit. I think it'll just be really soothing. Really, really looking forward to that kit. Then for the Ariel kit, I did not get to Ariel for May, so I did not make it to Mermay. And I am sad about that. I wish I would have been able to, but I decided to work on the Spring Mystery kit instead of the Ariel kit because the Ariel kit is rounds. And I was like, I need a break from rounds. I just need a break. So I'm saving Ariel. I don't know when I'll work on her, but I'm really looking forward to it whenever I do. I'm looking forward to Hong Kong Lights by Yuumei. It's also squares. It's also confetti. That one is going to be really nostalgic for me. I used to live in Hong Kong. And so working on that kit, it has the feeling of Hong Kong. She managed to really capture the light and the rain and the humidity. And I know what road she had in mind when she illustrated that piece. Like I remember walking along that road or taking the bus along that road. Like I know exactly where it is, even though it's not a one-to-one rendition. It's just it is. And so I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know when I will work on that piece. For me, it's more of your like traditional rainy day kit in that I don't have it exactly in mind. It's going to depend on the vibes of when I'm ready to work on it. But I am really glad I have it. And it's going to be really nice whenever I'm like, okay, now is the time. So those are those 5. Then next category, 5 favorite diamond painting accessories. So this is also in no particular order. What happened there? No particular order. This pen, this Black Wolf Woodworks pen, I love it. I love how it feels. I love the hybrid. It's really light. It's almost like softer. It's less dense than this acrylic or than the other resin, and so it doesn't, like, my hands don't cramp when I use it as much. It's beautiful. I love it. That's one of my favorite accessories for sure. I do have 2 other Black Wolf Woodwork pens on the way to me. I bought them during a sale, and they should be arriving soon, which I'm very excited about. Then number 1, so number 2, putty, Randa's Crafty Quarter putty. Love it. Love the putty so much. I will be using that for a long time. I think it's just really nice, really high quality. The scents are great, but not too overpowering. There's a wonderful variety. The price point is very accessible. She restocks regularly. I really just have nothing but good things to say about Randa's Crafty Corner putty. And for me, it makes a big difference to have a nice putty. Number 3, my Bijou Bliss trays. I only have 2. I have 2 of the Zodiac. I have Aquarius and Pisces. They've made at least Aries and Taurus. They maybe also have launched Gemini. I haven't checked. I'm still hemming and hawing on, do I want to buy the whole 12 set, like, as they release? Which, like, yes, I do want to, but am I going to really? Haven't decided if I really, like, if I'm going to do that or not. But I love, love, love the Bijou Bliss trays. Those are my favorites. I will keep getting trays from them. So that's number 3. Oh, number 4, Coverminder. So actually 4 and 5 are going to be Coverminders for me. The first is this trash drill container. This is from Cat Proof Diamond trays. And this is a litter box, which for me, the litter box for trash drills is just, I think it's the funniest thing. I don't know. It brings me joy. It makes me chuckle. I love it. I love the size of it. I'll probably buy another one just because I think it's so funny and I love the size of it. It's high quality, easy to use. Yeah, nothing but good things to say about that. And then number 5, 8. Okay, number 5 is also going to be a Coverminder. And I'm going to shout out Shire Shenanigans again. The Coverminder in particular that I really love is actually on the other kit. So it's one of her wooden ones and it says coffee, crafting, sleep, and repeat. It's about yay big. So it's a really good size. And I think it's really cute. Really love it. But honestly, all of her Coverminders are wonderful. The magnets are great. The size is really nice. They're really flat, which I like. I don't like a Coverminder that sticks up a ton because I tend to hit it with my hand. And they're big, which means that they hold the plastic really well. And if I like mess up a little bit and the plastic tears, because it's such a wide surface area, the Coverminder can cover like both pieces of plastic with the tear. So that's really nice for when I fudge the plastic a bit. So yeah, those are my top 5 accessories. Shout out again, Shire Shenanigans. Go check out her shop. I know she's going to the upcoming Crafters Den retreat it's in a couple weeks. 1 week? I don't know. They're talking about it a lot. I'm not going because I didn't join in time to like learn about this. And I have such FOMO over it. Like I really wish I was going because it looks like so much fun. Everyone talking about it. And I'm like, oh, I want to go. I want to go hang out and just diamond paint for a week or a weekend, however long it is, with all of these cool nerdy crafters. This looks great. So if they do another one next year, I'm probably going to try and go. I've heard there are other retreats, like a Great Lakes retreat, and then maybe a Lone Star. Someone else mentioned another retreat in the Discord. And where are y'all learning about these things? Please tell me. How do you learn about these retreats? I am but a new, ignorant little goose who would love to participate in the fun things and make new friends. I know I was talking earlier in this video about being sometimes overstimulated, but I want to make friends. I want to go to retreats. I want to have like adult summer camps. So if you know how to find out about these things, help a girl out, help a goose out. Post in my comments, please. But yeah, so Shire Shenanigans, anyways, where I was going with this is that she's going to the retreat. And I know that she's making some new designs like for the retreat and that she'll be posting them on her shop afterwards. And at least one of them is like Death by Caffeination or like Death Before Decaf. One of those things. Either way, I love it. I love it. I want more of them. Anyway, so those 5 favorite accessories. Oh, 5 favorite movies. Okay, top 5 movies. No particular order. So this one I actually had to talk with Taters about last night because I'm not really a movies girl. I can never think of movies. Movies are not my preferred medium, but I thought about this last night. And so my top 5 movies, again, in no particular order, are number 1, the original Jurassic Park. The original. Love it. Animals with large teeth, top category for me. Really, really enjoy it. It's silly. It's got velociraptors. It's a classic. It's beautifully 90s. The design is impeccable. I want to be Alan Grant. Everything in my life, I should have been a paleontologist. Not really. I wouldn't have enjoyed it. But, you know, like Alan Grant, Dr. Grant is truly fashion vibes for me. Laura Dern, incredible. Part of my gay awakening. Just, yeah, all the way around. Movie's wonderful. So, original Jurassic Park. Number 2, The Little Mermaid. Ariel. Love her. She's my girl. Love her so much. I have been thinking about turning my crafting room into like an underwater sort of theme. Now, part of that is because it is summer and I'm like, summer beachy water themes, but also like I am a Pisces. I am a sensitive little fish. And so I was looking on Facebook Marketplace at like 90s vintage Ariel things. And yeah, that was that hit me right in the feels, because a lot of the stuff I remember using when I was a child. And I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, that bedspread. I remember that bedspread. I had that bedspread, or plates, or, you know, what have you. And so I think it could be fun to just get a couple things to put on the walls. It's like, oh, original Ariel, just because I really love Little Mermaid. So that's number 2. Number 3. Oh, no. I'm trying to remember. Oh, number 3. This is a bit of a deep cut. If you know this movie, please post in the comments and let me know if you know this movie. Because Taters and I, when we first started dating, we bonded over the fact that we knew of this movie because we don't know other people who know of this movie. It came out in the early 90s, has Anna Paquin in it from when she was also but a child. So the movie is called Fly Away Home. And this also started my love of geese. So Fly Away Home, Anna Paquin is like 12-ish. Her mom dies in a horrific car accident. She goes to live with her dad in Canada. And she finds this nest of baby Canada geese. This is based on a real story, I should say. This is based on a real story. She finds this nest of baby Canada geese who are orphaned due to construction. And so she adopts them. When they hatch, they imprint on her. And so she has to get them to fly. And so she and her dad build these gliders to help the geese migrate, because once they migrate for the first time, then they know their path and will come back and forth to the family farm and, you know, happily ever after. It also just so happens that there is a nature preserve in North Carolina that if there are nesting geese, then the nature preserve stays in a nature preserve and it cannot be turned into housing or other residential project. So they got to get these geese in so that they are protecting the wildlife, you know, yay, eco everything. I love this movie. It's got baby animals in it. It's a rescue story. The soundtrack for it is 90s perfection. It's got, I think, Jody Hill as like the main singer, maybe Carole King. I don't know. Maybe it's Carole King. Either way, the soundtrack is flawless. Just on another level. Anna Paquin, again, as a child. Canada geese, which I love forever. I know that's a controversial take, but that's okay. I live in the world of controversial takes. So that's number 4. Again, truly, if you... 3. Number 3. If you know this movie, please tell me so that I can find my Fly Away Home honkers. 4. 3. So number 4 is Best in Show. Best in Show is a mockumentary that came out in the mid 2000s, and it's one of the original like mockumentary styles. And the cast is incredible. It has Jane Lynch and Eugene Levy and Jennifer Coolidge and just other like really, really big heavy hitters from the 2000s. And it follows this dog show. So it's a fake like Westminster dog show, like national dog show. And it's like a the mockumentary part is that it's filmed as if it's a documentary, but it's a parody following all of these different dog owners as they get ready to compete in, this big national competition. And so each of the dog owners is this really incredible parody of just different personality archetypes. And it's just so funny. I watched it recently with Taters. I made her watch it because she was like, what is this? And I said, no, we're going to watch this. So I made her watch it with me. It does actually hold up. The humor is still quite relevant. Some movies from the 2000s don't hold up terribly well. This one I feel does. And it can always make me laugh. So highly recommend Best in Show. It is, I think it's on Netflix. I watched it on streaming recently. So it is available on one of the channels. I think it's Netflix, maybe Hulu, if you're in the US. I don't know internationally where it may be available. Then that was 4. That's number 5. Oh, we had thought of something. Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, which I know Natalie talked about this one. What is my dog doing? That sound. Anyway, Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. Again, an awakening, an absolute queer awakening of the next level. I was a teenager when I first saw this movie, so it hit right in the feels. Gosh, I forget the actor's name, but the actor who played Mercutio is like the best casting that has ever been cast for truly any role, let alone for Mercutio. Just incredible. The styling of that movie cannot be beat. Claire Danes, there are no words. If you've seen it, you know. I don't know anyone who's seen that movie and doesn't think it's a masterpiece. Even if they're like not super psyched about like Baz Luhrmann and that take on things, no one has seen the movie and been like, well, I guess it was okay. Like it's really something else. I used to watch it a lot as a teenager and in college, and I would always stop it right before the chapel scene because I wanted to believe in happily ever after. I don't do that anymore, and I'm definitely going to need a rewatch now that I'm talking about it. But yeah, it's so beautiful. Also, the soundtrack, incredible soundtrack. For no reason, that movie just went hard. It's so good. So good. So yeah, that'll be number 5. Then top 5 TV shows, no particular order. I do love TV shows, so this is much easier for me. Number 1, Battlestar Galactica, the 2000s edition. You have to include the hour and a half prequel. We'll call it prequel episode. That is the hour and a half prequel episode plus season 1 is one of the best seasons on television ever made. You can get out of my face with anything about The Wire or The Shield. I don't want to hear about it. That's just, trauma porn. Battlestar Galactica tells some of the best survival storytelling and pacing that has ever been done. And the great thing about that TV show is that it's mostly done with real actors, and there's a little bit of computer generated for some of the like spacey space scenes, but most of it they like built an actual set, and you can tell it's gritty and things are falling apart and stuff is not working the way that you would expect a disaster survival disaster survival of the human race. I haven't given any spoilers. You learn all of that quite literally in the first 10 minutes. If you have not seen Battlestar Galactica and you are like, oh, I don't want to watch it because it's sci-fi. No. So it has a sci-fi setting, but it is not a sci-fi show. It's much more a political drama than it is an actual sci-fi. It's a character show. There are some scientific elements that help move the plot forward, but it's really heavily based around the character development and the politics, much more than any of the science stuff. I will say that the last 2 seasons do go a little more weird. So if you only watch the first season and then are like, cool, I'm happy with where that ended, I will understand. I would not be offended. But I love all of the show. I really need to watch it with Taters. We have not committed to a watching of it. She hasn't seen it yet, even though I talk about it all the time. But maybe this summer. Maybe that's what we'll do. So that's the first. Second, Law & Order SVU. That was a pivotal defining show for me. Olivia Benson is one of my role models for life. And I'm specifically talking about some of the older, like anything from 2000 to 2014. Some of the newer seasons, I don't love newer Olivia, especially in like 2020, like 2015 to 2020. I don't love those seasons. She gets kind of like weepy. Like she just wears a lot of silk shirts and cries, which is not really old school Olivia Benson to me. So I don't really know what they were doing with her character arc there. I don't really know why the writers like went in that direction. I don't know what happened. Don't love it. But old school Law & Order SVU has a place in my heart forever. I recognize that it's problematic, and I have no arguments against that. This is sentimental and nostalgic. And one thing I do think is really interesting about SVU is that you can use it as a cultural thermometer. Like when you watch the early seasons and then you watch an episode from the middle seasons, then an episode from the most recent seasons, you really see how American taste has changed and how people think about cultural topics in terms of how it's represented in SVU. And like SVU does try really hard to be woke, sometimes like painfully so. But I think there's an important part in cultural media, especially popular cultural media, to kind of like shove those messages down your throat in a very like overt way, especially because media like this almost turns into daytime television. And it's stuff that people like watch it and they don't always like get fully engaged in it. And so I think the heavy handedness of the writing is important. But yeah, so Law & Order SVU, it helped me become who I am today. Just having Benson as a role model and seeing her handle challenging situations and still retain her humanity through a lot of stuff. Just it means a lot. So that's number 3. Number 4, top 5 favorite TV shows. Original ER, especially seasons like 9 through 13, I think are some of the best. So I had been doing an ER rewatch and I got stuck on season like 4 because it just got a little hard and I need to just power through. And then I've been watching The Pit, which is incredible, fantastic, phenomenal, no regrets. Everyone should watch it. But original ER is really important. If you are a TV person, you need to watch like the first 2 seasons of ER to understand TV as it is today, because so much of our like pacing came about from original ER and how they approach television. So it's just like very important context clues. And I think it's really good. It's just like a well done medical drama. And I like all of the medical stuff in it. I can't really tell you if most of the medical stuff is accurate because I don't work in that aspect of the medical field, but I know it's enjoyable. I liked watching it. And then number 5. Arcane. Yep. Arcane. Both seasons. I cannot tell you how impactful it was to watch Vi and Kate's relationship play out as a queer adult. It healed things. Truly, it has healed things in me to both see that relationship and then to see the fan response to it. What's really incredible about their relationship is that they are allowed to be non-perfect people who are in relationship with each other, and they happen to be women. Those kinds of storylines previously are really only reserved for straight couples. And especially in an animated medium, which is largely regarded in the US as a children's medium, which I disagree with that take, but that's kind of how animation is billed in the US, is as a kids medium. And so to see an animation powerhouse tell these stories, and specifically to tell a queer love story so accurately and unapologetically, it's healing. It's really healing, because that's what a queer relationship like actually looks like. I did not enjoy a lot of other media that had queer women relationships in it because I felt it was either too sexualized or too stylized to be like girly. It's just like too much femme for femme, but in a very straight male gaze way. It's not an actual reflection of women in relationships with each other. And so as someone in a queer relationship with a woman, it meant a lot. And then on top of that, the rest of the show is just incredible. The pacing, the soundtrack, the art of the animation, the storytelling itself, they're just flawless, absolutely flawless. So yeah, that is going to be my 5th favorite TV show. I've watched season 1 twice. I've watched season 2 once, but it's about time for a rewatch. I wanted to let it sit for a minute because also I was emotionally damaged. No spoilers, but a lot happens. And I was like, I need to breathe before I can dive right back into that. I know some people, they finish it and they immediately rewatch it again. I have to process my trauma before I can go back into it. That's how I am. And so, but I think it's about time. Orville, Tejas, and we may rewatch it in November. Because then it'll have been like a year and we may watch it then again. But so that's the 5th TV show. So that's where Natalie ended the categories. However, she did say you can add other categories, and I want to add in podcasts. I want to add in my top 5 podcasts because I love podcasts and I don't hear a lot of other people talking about the podcasts they listen to. I know podcasts are popular. I know people are listening to them. And so if you are also a podcast person, I want to hear your favorite podcasts, or is there something else I should be listening to? Because I think podcasts, especially now that it's a more robust medium, is doing really important work in the nonfiction space and the educational space, like cultural education. Way more so than some other media is able to do because of the nature of it. So for top 5, first one I'm going to say is Serial episode 1. It walked so everyone else could run. It is phenomenal storytelling. It really opened my eyes to what podcasting could be. Because my experience with podcasting before listening to it was really just like, oh, this is just kind of people having a conversation with each other. I'm confused. But so Serial really went there in terms of audio-based storytelling, integrating sounds and pacing and interviews and different kinds of media to explain something in a way that really worked with that medium. So love it. Serial season 1. Definitely recommend if you are in the true crime space or you just like audio storytelling. Number 2, is going to be Maintenance Phase. Maintenance Phase is just one of my favorite podcasts of all time. I will never shut up about it. The two hosts are Aubrey Gordon and Michael Hobbs, and they are self-proclaimed data nerds. Methodology queens is what they call themselves. And as a data nerd, I can relate. And every time I listen to them and then I tell someone else to listen to them, they're like, they sound like you. And I said, yes, that is the greatest compliment you could ever give me. They talk about really. So the point of the show is to debunk health and wellness grifts, essentially. Like a lot of crap about the health and wellness industry and anti-fat bias. And so they talk about the data behind things and where it comes from and like what is actually true based on nutrition and data science and studies versus what we talk about in the popular space. That's really just a lot of like shame and capitalism. And I think that's really, really important because there's so much anti-fat bias going around and so much diet culture crap that is really, really toxic and harmful. And especially we're seeing a lot of it come back now with the rise in conservatism. We had a little lull there and now it's coming back. And so I think Maintenance Phase is just a really important piece of work. And I think it's funny. I think it's very, very funny content. So that is number 2. Number 3, my third favorite podcast is called, and Maintenance Phase is still making new episodes. They're making them a little bit more slowly than they used to be. I think as they're figuring out what do they want this show to be now that it's been out for a couple of years and it's had a lot of popularity. Like how do the creators want to manage this, which like great. And I appreciate that they put a lot of time and effort into each episode. So Maintenance Phase, it's on all of the major podcast channels. Serial I found through Apple Podcasts, but I think it's also on Spotify. And NPR, if it's still available on NPR, it may be. Then my third favorite, it's called Love and Light Confessionals. And it's done by a woman, Katja Weiss Anderson. She is a solo podcaster. And so she has done this series debunking new age wellness grifts. So there's some similarity to Maintenance Phase in terms of its debunking grifts, but and it's also very well researched and very like methodical in how she talks about the topics. And but she takes it from like a really like social justice perspective and a very nuanced and inclusive platform. And so I think Katya is doing really, really incredible work talking about like the harms of wellness culture and how much of it is overlapping with other concerning rhetoric and harmful politics and a lot of like dog whistles. She points out a lot of dog whistles in wellness culture, which if you're not in that space, you're not going to know it. You're not going to know, if I say, if you're an advocate of raw milk, and you're just saying, people say, that raw milk is better for you. And you're not someone who's in the space enough to really know like where that's coming from and why, to understand how harmful that is and how it is a lot of like dog whistles for other really concerning eugenics. She breaks that down. And I really appreciate that work. And she does it in a way that's very approachable and non-patronizing and non-insulting. And she says, like the people who are promoting these values for the purposes of being harmful, like this is why they're doing it this way. And this is why it's hard to understand. And so as someone who really believes in public education and when I say public education, I don't just mean like public school. I mean like educating people on what is going on. I respect that immensely. And I also think she's funny. She has great content. She is taking a little bit of a break from creating episodes and approaching them very, very methodically because her work takes a ton. It takes a ton of work to do those episodes. And she gets a lot of really negative feedback from people because it's such important and impactful journalism. So all of her back catalog is still available on Spotify and probably other podcast hosts. But so Love and Light Confessionals, definitely recommend listening to the first 2 seasons. Season 2 in particular is some of like her best work. So that's the 3rd podcast. The 4th podcast is a new to me podcast that I have been like consuming like a fire hose. It's called the Culture Study Podcast, and it's hosted by Anne Helen Peterson. She brings on guests who are experts in whatever it is that they're experts in, and they have a discussion about their thing, which like, okay, that podcast style is quite popular. But what she focuses on is aspects of culture, hence the culture study, and why those things are the way they are from kind of an unpacking lens, or like why something may be concerning. It's definitely, in the leftist space, which like shocker considering who I am. So it is more left leaning. Just know that going in, but I really appreciate that. And it is not incendiary. It's not rabble rousing. It's not fear mongering. Very intentionally, it's not any of those things. And it really talks about like the values. Like she did an episode on the Meghan Markle show on Netflix, which I'm not at all interested in. And I just happened to listen to the episode, and it was fascinating because she and the guest really talked about like the cultural lens through which Meghan Markle is examined, both in the US and in the UK, and how that plays such a role in how this show was produced and how the show itself is talked about. And so I just really appreciated that analysis and dialogue because like, I'm not going to necessarily watch the Meghan Markle show, but I like knowing what people are saying about it because it is a cultural touchstone. And I think that aspect of feminism, it's just really interesting and really important. She did an episode with a woman called Dana Miranda, who I'm now, let's say, an acolyte of. And Dana Miranda, her thing is you don't need a budget. And so she's a financial educator, and she's talking about like how to have thoughts and approach to money that isn't from a budget culture perspective. And she equates budget culture to diet culture, which, considering I just talked about maintenance phase, that should tell you where this is going. And essentially saying that diet culture and budget culture are just facets of capitalism, and they're not really like meaningful ways to educational freedom, which I agree with. And that most budget culture doesn't fit reality. Also agree with that statement. And so Dana Miranda talks about, okay, how do you have a relationship with your money that isn't just rooted in like scarcity? And how do you see your money as a resource and have like respect for yourself? And you don't just talk to yourself out of shame, guilt, and fear. Love that. So that episode really, I think anyone who deals with personal finances, which is like everybody, should listen to that episode, even if it's not how you approach money, just to hear another perspective on money. And so, okay, if that kind of budget work doesn't fit for your life, like that's fine. But she may challenge you to think about your money in a way that is more meaningful for you and doesn't cause you as much emotional pain. Even if you don't change your budgeting methods, you may have a more rewarding relationship with your money if you change your perspective on your money. And like, I think that is nothing but good. If we can talk about money without fear and shame and angst. So that's number 4, Culture Study Podcast. What's number 5? Top 5 podcast. Behind the Influence. I'll say Behind the Influence with Joe Piazza. So this is one that I started listening to last year. And Joe Piazza is an author who the first season of... Under the Influence. It's Under the Influence. The first season of Under the Influence, she's talking about mommy bloggers and like mommy influencers and like where did this culture come from? And so the first season is her exploring the world of mommy influencers, which I am not a mother, but I think as someone who's in her mid 30s, I am adjacent to a lot of that lifestyle. And there are some things that come up at that age in your life that I do think about, even though I do not have my own child. And so listening to her explore the world of mommy blogging and mommy influencing and like mommygram was very, very enlightening to me. And she just has a really wonderful voice in how she talks about things, and like literally her voice itself is very soothing. So I'm listening to the rest of the episodes and enjoying them very much. But season 1 is like self-contained as a journalistic piece. And so that's what I'm really fully recommending. Okay. I just talked for a long time. Thank you for hanging out and listening as I talked about a whole bunch of things that I like 5 of. Again, in no particular order. And I managed to finish this square. Yay. Wow, look at that. Oh, weekly report. Okay, wait, I got to do my weekly report real quick. Okay, what have I been reading? I've been reading Dana Miranda's book, You Don't Need a Budget. I'm in the first like third of it. And it's really interesting thus far. I'll talk about it more when I finish. But basically, yeah, it's changing my relationship with money now that I'm in my mid 30s. And like, how do I think about my money as a resource? Love that. Eating. What am I eating? Oh, I just tried. Lay's has put out their summer chip flavors, and they just put out one that's like Korean hot chicken flavor. It's really good. I also got another one that's like Valentina and lime that I'm going to try tonight. But definitely Korean fried chicken, Lay's ruffle chips. They're good. If you like spicy things, they're good. Eating, playing, podcasts. I'm listening to the podcasts. I just talked about that, so I won't rehash it, but I'm on the podcast train again. Oh, obsessing. What am I obsessing over? Diamond painting, squares. I love squares. As I run my hands over these, I love squares. I'm obsessing over squares. Yep. That's where we're at. What am I recommending? Ocean sounds. Let me explain. So I put on audio stuff as a way to like help regulate myself, and I've been listening to lots of ocean sounds recently. It's what's been doing the trick for me. I found a YouTube video, I'll have to link to it, that's like 2 hours of Pine Knoll shores, and it's just this wonderful beach audio. I'm gonna link it. I'm gonna link it below, because if you just need a wonderful beach soundtrack, just put that on. It puts me right to sleep. Like I go out like a light. I immediately like, oh, nighttime. I don't know why. It's just what's working for me. It's helping my brain soothe itself. Recommending. And then treating. What am I treating myself to? I was going to go make a cake. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, I was going to make a cake. So treat yourself to a delicious baked good this weekend. Do it. Whatever you like. I was going to make a cake that's literally just like yellow cake with sprinkles, because that's just where the vibes are these days, you know, yellow cake with sprinkles. So go have a piece of cake for me. Screw diet culture. Don't pay attention to that. Eat the cake. I don't want to hear anything about calories in the comments, because yeah, we are not about that life here. No, I mean, that came off really aggressive, which to some extent I mean it, but also truly enjoy something. Just enjoy eating something wonderful for the sake of experiencing the joy. Please do it. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me with this very long WIP Chat and going through all of my favorites and the rehash. I am going to try and get this video up much faster than I did the previous WIP Chat. Fingers crossed. And I will see you around again soon. Oh, tag. I didn't tag anybody. I'm tagging the Stealthy Crafter and Simply Striving to Thrive. I saw her in my comments and I watched a couple of her videos. They were very cute. So I'm tagging, if you feel like doing these top 5, I'm tagging Stealthy Crafter and Simply Striving to Thrive. I will tag you in the comments. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful week. Bye.